Over 700 people have died in Myanmar since February 1st when the military coup started. If you want to find out how you can help, then you want to watch this video because we're going to tell you how right now. Hi, this is Todd from Sniping, Rhino Ranch. In today's video, we're going to do a little bit different type of video than what we normally do because we're going to talk about the coup that's taken place in Myanmar and specifically what you can do to help the people of Myanmar. If you haven't heard of Myanmar, it's what used to be called Burma, and they had a military coup start on February 1st. So we're going to tell you what's going on. I'm going to tell you my experience there and the friends that I have there, and then we're going to end with what you can actually do to help the people of Myanmar. So let's get into the video. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on in Myanmar. For those of you who are like, where is Myanmar? Myanmar is a country in Southeast Asia. A lot of you probably know it by its old name, Burma, but anyway, they had decades and decades of civil war and finally ended, but you know, there's still genocide that takes place in that country, and you know, it's you know, decades backwards because of just all the wars that have taken place and hindered its economic and technological growth. But on February 1st of this year, the military declared a state of emergency and basically ousted the government, the elected government that was in place, basically a military coup. And as of 3 days ago, since February 1st, over 700 people have been killed in this coup. At least 46 of them are children. And so, you know, for a while they shut off travel to the country, they control media access, social media is blocked in certain areas. It was blocked in every areas, but you know, the access they have to the outside world and the ability to give information to the outside world is significantly controlled. And so why do I care about that? Well, let me tell you. So for those of you who have been watching us for a while or may have watched our, you know, who is Sniping Rhino Ranch or what is Sniping Rhino Ranch, you know that we used to live in Southeast Asia. We didn't set up this homestead until we got back. But before that, I was a pastor, and I met this man who was going around with his family to raise funds because he felt called to go to Myanmar to be a missionary. And you know, for those of you who don't know, there's a lot of countries in the world where you just can't be a missionary at. They don't allow it. And so, you know, I'm not going to say his name because, you know, technically he's not supposed to be in there as a missionary. But, you know, that's what he does. He takes him and his family over there and, you know, does what he feels the Lord has told him to do. And so in 2018, he asked me, because we were living in Southeast Asia, if we could come to the country and if I could go with him to the Chin State in Myanmar, which is kind of out along the Bangladesh border, kind of in the mountain region there. And so me and my family flew to Myanmar, and you know, my wife and kids stayed in the capital of Myanmar doing missions work with his wife and with his kids. And then, you know, the day we arrived, and 30 minutes later, me and him walked out the door, and we took a train ride for about 17, 18 hours across the country of Myanmar. And then we got to the end, and we jumped on a van, and for like 7 hours, just in this van packed full of people. And then we got into this town where we spent the night, and then we got on motorbikes, and we drove hours up on these goat trails. There was no roads to this village we were going to. And let me tell you, it was scary. There was gigantic drop-offs in the mountains there. In fact, two kids the day before had went off the side over the cliff, and one was killed outright, and the other one was significantly injured. I don't know if that kid survived. He was still alive from what I know by the time I left. But anyway, it was an amazing village. You know, it was like National Geographic stuff. There's no contact with the outside world. We were the first Westerners to ever be there. You know, they grew and raised everything that they ate. In fact, we were there to celebrate this church opening. It had taken them 4 years to build. And the reason it took 4 years is because they had to carry everything in over the mountain to build this thing. And so they would work all day long, you know, in the gardens or cooking or with their livestock. And then they would come in at dark and spend 3 hours in this church worshiping. And there was 5 chairs in the entire church. And, you know, there was kind of an order of, you know, importance in the village and whether or not you got to sit in a chair. I chose not to sit in a chair, even though they kept trying to get me to. But they would sit on the floor for 3 hours worshiping, and you know, it'd be funny seeing some of the kids who have worked all day, and they would, of course, fall asleep because, you know, sitting still or sitting down on a hard surface for 3 hours. So just an amazing experience. In fact, while I was there, they had me kill a cow with a spear for this feast, which is something I never ever expected to do or wanted to do in my life. But you know, I've got a lugi here, my man dress that I wore while I was there that they gave me, and then they gave me a shirt with the Chin State colors on it, and it just kind of adopted me into their village. And in fact, I still have a lot of people in the Chin State that I keep in contact with, or had kept in contact with, because since February 1st, I haven't been able to communicate with any of my you know, Burmese friends that are in Myanmar. And so, you know, that leads me to this missionary I was talking about. I had several people who contacted me because they know I have contacts over there, and hey, I have a friend over there who needs food. You know, their village was destroyed, and you know, what can you do to help them? And so I reached out to my friend, and you know, actually I've been keeping track this whole time, but you know, one of the things is with this civil unrest and with the violence going on, it has really pushed people to seek Jesus Christ over there. And so he's got just tons of people coming into his church, tons of people who are wanting to find out about Jesus Christ, tons of people who are in need or hungry, and he's feeding them. And, you know, this individual is a guy who lives by faith. Him and his family are absolutely amazing. You know, they go month to month. They don't really have any big sponsors or anything. But, you know, God has provided. And so I came up with this idea of, hey, what can I do to help? And so what I'd like for you to help me with is to help support this guy, at least while all of this is going on, because of all the extra cost in, you know, providing food and you know, giving out Bibles and stuff like that to all these people in Myanmar who are seeking Christ. And I'll have a link in the description for the place that you can go to give to him. So the website, it's actually a legit website. If you've ever supported any missionaries before, it's Shepherd Staff. And again, I'll have a link in the description. You're not going to be able to give to him by name because, again, he's in a country where he has to work covertly, not overtly in his work. So they have a number. It's 2031-2031. 2031 is a number. anything that you give to him is going to go to food and Bibles to give out to these people who are so desperate right now. These are they're an amazing group of individuals. This country the poverty is unbelievable. And if you don't see it with your own eyes, if you've only grown up in the West here in the United States, you can't comprehend the level of poverty over there. And yet, they're defiant. In fact, I want to say it's 8 o'clock at night, although I'm not 100% sure. They'll all start banging pots and pans together, just hitting stuff with sticks deep in the corners as their act of defiance, because when they go out and protest, they get gunned down. Like I said, over 700 people, at least 46 children have been gunned down in protests about this coup that is taking place and the restrictions that are being placed on their freedoms. And so for me, I always felt like I have a responsibility to help my brothers and sisters who are overseas, who aren't experiencing the blessings that I experience here. A bad day for me is when my Wi-Fi isn't working well, which actually is pretty much every day. A bad day for them is, their kid dies from bad water, or they don't get to eat that day. And so I'm asking you to help by donating to that site. So, because there's just so many people, and he doesn't, he gets just enough donations a month to live, and yet he's putting everything he has into food and always keeping food at a very high risk to his safety and the safety of his family. In fact, on Easter Sunday, a bullet came through the window where he was preaching because of the violence that's taken place. And so if he's willing to risk his life to spread the gospel, I think we can send a few bucks his way so that he can take that money and provide food for all these people who are suffering so much. Additionally, if you know anybody in Myanmar who is in need, especially if they're close to the capital, if they're not, that's fine. Reach out to me, whether that's through our email at snipingrhinoranch@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Sniping Rhino Ranch, and shoot us a message, and I will give you the contact information for this individual. So anybody who is over there who needs something can go find this guy, call this guy, and get the help they need. And I'm not going to put that in the description or anywhere, because again, this person is risking his life and his family's life to do what they're doing. And so I almost feel guilty because I'm here in safety filming this video, and he's facing all this violence, doing what he can to spread the gospel. But now is the time. This is when so many people are reaching out, looking for an answer, for comfort, and this man is doing it. And quite frankly, we need you to do it. We need you to do your part. Everybody has a different part. He's on the front lines, and so I'm going to be back in the rear with the gear, sending him what he needs. Thank you for watching this video. This is a serious topic, and we need your help. The people of Myanmar need your help. And so go check in the description, get a link, help provide food, Bibles, whatever they need, by donating, so that this guy in the front lines this hero, this modern day, Paul, if you will, can do his work. And, if you have somebody or a contact in Myanmar, and an organization that can help, go ahead, leave a comment on organizations and their contact information over there, because like I said, there is a lot of people who need our help and are suffering greatly. And hey, go ahead and call your congressmen, call your senators, but we know how that works. Nothing really gets done in DC, but this is something that we can do uh, to be a tiny little light in the darkness, in a dark place with dark things taking place. And, you can be the difference to a little kid, having something to eat for a night, having something to eat for a week. But thank you for watching this video, and, pray for Myanmar.